Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial on Paperrater, which is a free online editing tool that will allow you to improve the overall quality of your written papers. Now, the basic program is free. Of course, you can do buy-up options if you're interested, but really it's not necessary. So when you want to use this program, you can find it on my Symbaloo or you can go to paperrater.com. So when you're ready to use the program, you simply click on Use Now Free. This will take you to the submission page. So when you submit your paper, it says upload file. If you want to upload the file, you actually have to pay the extra money to actually have it uploaded. So the best thing you can do is copy and paste. So I've already copied my article, so now I'm going to paste it in this box. Now, important thing to remember here is that when you put your paper into this box, do not put the title of your paper or the submission information in this box, because if you do, the program is going to factor that in as part of your essay. It's not going to recognize it as submission information. Therefore, it's actually going to dock you points in the long run because it's not recognizing it as part of a paragraph. It's going to think that it's a mistake. So only copy your actual paragraphs into this box. Next, if you have a research paper with works cited citations, you can copy and paste your works cited citations here to make sure that they're cited correctly. If you don't have that, you can just leave it blank. Next, it says select the education level of this paper's author. So what's really neat about this site is it actually grades your work based on the expectation level for your grade level. So it's not going to basically compare you to what a 12th grade student is supposed to be doing. They're actually going to grade you on your level. So for the purpose of this paper, you can pick 9th grade. It says select the type of paper you're submitting. This is going to give it a little bit more information on what it's looking for. So for this paper, I'm going to say it's a research paper. And then right down here, plagiarism detection optional. What it will do is if you turn this on, it will actually go through your paper and look for things that were like copied and pasted or not cited properly. And it'll actually highlight it for you and tell you that that is plagiarized. So you can catch that plagiarism before you turn it into your teacher. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to leave it on skip because it really does slow it down when it looks for plagiarism, because it's obviously trying to find whether or not you did not cite your material. So click on I have read and agree to terms of service below, and then come down here and hit get report. Now, it may take up to 3 or 4 minutes to get your results depending on how many people are using this site at the exact same time, so be patient. Don't try and rush it. It may take a few minutes. Okay, so now we have our results. So over here on the left, you will actually see your paper. You can see some highlighting taking place. And over here on the right, you can have your results. Now, the first thing I always like to look at is grade. Now, right here it says auto grader. So if you turn this paper in right now as is, you get a 91%. However, it is important to note, and this is what it says right here, is this program is not a crystal ball. It does not look at what you wrote. It's only looking at how you wrote it. So for example, if your assignment was to create an argumentative essay on gun control and you spent 3 paragraphs ranting about the current president, it has no idea that you got completely off topic. It's only grading you for things like spelling, grammar, sentence structure, word choice, transitions, so on. It has no idea what you wrote. It only is grading you on how you wrote it. So when you turn your paper in, just because this one says 91, that is no guarantee that that is what you're going to get on your paper, because your teacher has to grade the content or your actual ideas. This is really only grading your style, your grammar, your word choice, and so on. So I always tell students that when you're trying to get your score for your grade, to shoot for at least a 90%, because then you know that your paper is at least in the ballpark of what you need. It's very doubtful that you'll ever get this up to 100%, because sometimes you make choices in your paper that are purposeful and the program's going to think that they're a mistake. For example, if you go to spelling, right here, divinio, right here you can see on the left it's highlighted in red. It's saying that this is a spelling error and that you need to change it to divine. However, that's not true. This is actually, like a name. So we do not want to change that. However, it thinks it's an error, so it's kind of bringing down your score. So there are things that it can't catch because it's not grading what's written, just how it's read. So be careful when you're making these changes. So right here, one of the neat things it does, like you see here, is the spelling errors. So you can go through your paper, see anything that's highlighted in red, It'll give you the error on the left-hand side and how to change it on the right-hand side. However, remember, if you did it on purpose, if it's supposed to be that way, just ignore it. The next one, grammar. So when you look on the left-hand side, all grammar mistakes are highlighted in green, has the error on the left-hand side, and it has the suggestion for fixing it on the right-hand side. Now, so far, the spelling and grammar, that's stuff that can pretty much be done in Word or Google Docs. So the best stuff you're going to get is your word choice results, your style, and your vocabulary words. So word choice, it says suggestions for improving word choice appear in blue on the left. So if you see anything in blue on the left, you kind of get an idea that they want something different, like there's one there. So up at the top right here, it says 1 of 2. This means there's more information, so you need to hit next. All right, so it's telling me that this person got a 2.79 on their bad phrase score. Lower is better. So it says the bad phrase score is based on the quality and quantity of trite or inappropriate words, phrases, misspellings, or so on, cliches. So this means, did you use expressions that are used so often that they're boring? Did you use inappropriate words, things that maybe aren't really describing what you need to talk about, and so on? So really look for cliches, look for overused expressions, things that have been used so much that they're boring now. So right here, it also gives you a percentile score. It says you did better or equal to than 69% of the people in your education level. So right there, there's where you are compared to all of your classmates at the 9th grade level. Now overall, that's not too bad. I try to tell students to shoot for at least the 70th percentile, because then you know you're really doing a good job. Okay, next is style. Now style by far gives you the most feedback in terms of how you did writing your paper. For example, the first one is your transitional word score. This student got an 80, which meant when they came to transitional words or phrases, they did better than 64% of the people in their education level. Now, if you're not exactly sure what transitions are, right here it goes through and says these are the transition phrases that we found in your paper. So these are the ones you did use. And then it gives you suggestions for adding more so you can raise this score. So go through your paper, see if there's a place that you can add those in to try and raise up your transitional phrase score. It also gives you suggestions of the best places to insert these as well. So here it's going to really help you improve the overall flow of your paper. Up there, next, so we can do 2 of 5. Next is sentence length info. So it tells us that overall this person had 90 sentences, and the average sentence length was 20.1 words. One of the things you want to make sure you do in your paper is vary the sentence length. If you have all short and choppy sentences in your paper is going to be short and choppy. It's going to be hard to read. It's going to have no flow. If you have all long, windy sentences that carry on forever, your paper is probably going to be hard to follow. So you need to make sure you're using a variety of different sentence types. Now, if you don't know how to do that, right here at the bottom, there's a link, helpful resources. It says effective use of sentence length. If you click on that, it will take you to a page that will help you improve this score so you can make sure you're using a variety of sentence lengths. The next one, sentence beginnings. Another thing you don't want to do is start all your sentences the same way. Not exactly with the same word, but start them the same way. So this student did better than 67% of the people in their education level, so overall not bad. But if you'll look down here, it'll say, here are some simple sentence starts we found in your text, meaning that these were all really basic ways to start your sentences and that you've done it over and over and over again. So if you come down here, it also breaks down the way you start your sentences by part of speech. So right here, 24% of his sentences started with a preposition, 16% started with a noun, 21% started with other. If you get these results back and it says, wow, 50% of your sentences started with a noun, that is too many. You need to go back through your sentences and find different ways to start your sentences. Change up the sentence structure to make sure you're keeping it fresh and keeping it interesting. Once again, if you have trouble with that, come down here to the bottom, click Sentence Beginnings, Your Sentence's First Impression, and it will take you to a page to help you with that. Okay, the fourth one, this is something you have to pay to get more for or pay more to get. It's really not worth it, so you can just go ahead and skip it to the next one. Okay, so this is passive voice is actually a poor writing form where it allows the object of an action to be the subject of the sentence. So right here, these sentences that it's got highlighted, these are the ones in your paper that it said have passive voice. Now it's important to note here, like you'll see this one, it's actually a quote from an article or a quote from a book or a paper. If that's the case, do not change it. If it's a quote from a book, a resource, or so on, you do not want to change it because you do need to quote it exactly. Just take it with a grain of salt that that's the score because of a quote. Okay, don't worry about it. If you scroll down here, if you really are struggling with what active or passive voice is, you really don't have any idea, once again, click on that link. It'll take you to a page that walks you through active and passive voice. Lastly, there's vocabulary words. So this actually grades you based on your word choice for what is expected for the vocabulary of a ninth grade student. So this student got a 59th, or was in the 59th percentile for people in your education level. So it comes down here and it gives you some words that you used in your paper that were really good, but overall it's still saying that we could do better, because remember, you want to try and at least be in the 70th percentile if you can. That would be a great thing to shoot for. So what you can do now is try and go back through your paper and see if there are more sophisticated word choices that you can use. Use some resources, use a thesaurus or thesaurus.com to see if there are other words that you can use. However, make sure you're careful about doing that, because the last thing you want to do is start using a synonym for a word that actually doesn't make sense. Just because it's in the thesaurus as a word with a similar meaning doesn't mean it'll fit perfectly in your sentence. So be careful when you use those resources about choosing words that actually fit the meaning that you were going for. So once you've gone through all of the information in your report, you can actually print it out or you can save it. So go to Printable Summary Report. So here's your report. So you can go through it. Everything is there that we just talked about. The spelling, the grammar, the word choice, the style, vocabulary, your grades, so on. It is all there for you, so you can go back and make those changes. So the best thing you can do is try and make as many changes as you can, resubmit your paper, and see if your score went up at all. Up here, you'll see that as your first paragraph. So if you guys are printing as a group, make sure you remember what your first sentence says. That way you can actually pick up the right results when you get your papers back. Okay, that was your tutorial on Paperrater. So remember, if you ever have any questions about any of these resources, please don't hesitate to stop by the library and ask.